out here today, which side has the toughness and the depth to keep driving toward that ultimate goal, the chance to raise that gold trophy over their heads. As we'll see the number 6 seed in this playoff, the Michigan Wolverines, taking on the number 2 seed in the playoff, the Ohio State Buckeyes. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Chris Fowler, joined by Kirk Herbstreit. It's been a tremendous college football playoff so far, and it's down to this, the semifinals. Which team will head on to the national championship game? The kickoff team is out there, and here we go with this playoff semifinal game. Kick bounces out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. Fresh set of downs for the offense. First down. Off the play fake, looking to throw. Quarterback finds a target on the right. It's complete. Heads out of bounds as a short gain on play.
Love to see the short passing game as a great go-to for any offensive coordinator in the first quarter because it's reliable and allows you to see how the defense is reacting. That can open up for other things later on.
Big throw caught on the left side. We get him down at the 41, but that's good enough for a first down. A running play gives the offense a fresh set of downs. And the wideout goes in motion. They're going to run it here. Football comes out. The defense recovers the fumble.
Man, Chris, we can hear the contact from that hit all the way up here in the booth. So, hey, it's easy to blame the ball carrier, but I don't know if anybody could have been able to hold on to the ball after that hit.
Line getting set up. It's a first down play. Shotgun formation. Here's an inside give.
This is exactly what you want to see as a play caller. You get positive yards to be able to kind of keep you on schedule as a play caller. That's all you can ask for. Good job up front and a nice run.
Second down after that run on the previous play. There's the snap. Quarterback setting up to throw. It is intercepted. Going the other way. Can they catch him? Past the 20. Inside the 10. Touchdown, Buckeyes. And the defense joins the party with a pick 6.
Boy, what a job by the defensive coordinator and the execution of his defense. Everybody's covered downfield, nowhere for the quarterback to go, and they get pressure on him. The ball's in the air, and a great awareness to be able to come down with the interception and take it all the way to the house.
And the point after is good. Here's the kickoff team now, set to boot this one away. And the return man decides to signal fair catch. And the Michigan offense back out on the field. They're trying to recover from that last possession. They had things going, but then a pick 6, a devastating play. They got to recover from that right now. Defense surrounds him. Just a short gain on that completion. The Wolverines will crank up the tempo. Trying to flex the ground game here. Running back takes the handoff. Gets past the tackler into open space now. Oh, and he breaks free. It's a foot race. Crosses the 10. Takes it all the way to the house. Touchdown, Michigan.
Oh, my. What a great play call here by the offensive coordinator. The running back received some great blocking up front and just took off with it, carving up this defense all the way to the end zone.
And now they'll set up for the point after. And he knocks it right through. Kickoff team on the field getting set now. And that one will bounce out of the back of the end zone. The offense will start at the 25. Here comes the powerful Ohio State offense onto the field. It's a shotgun run call. The sophomore with a strong tackle there.
See, that's how you limit what an offense wants to do. This time, the defense just wanting to battle up front of the line of scrimmage, not giving up any big plays. Everybody's gap sound. It's really solid defense on that play.
They look to throw it here on second down. Lofting it toward the left sideline. Intercepted, picked off by the defense. He's got some room and some blockers here. Finally marked out after a big game, but hold on. There's a penalty marker on the field. Let's check this out. Big guys up front lined up. It's first down. Here's the snap. Quarterback looking to throw. He's escaping the pocket now. And it's complete downfield. Heads out of bounds after a solid gain, more than enough to pick up a first down.
Boy, what a throw and catch again by the Ohio State Buckeye offense. You think about how Ohio State has been able to really grow over the years. Go back and think about Chris Carter back in the 80s and Joey Galloway in the 90s. And, of course, most recently with Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, Jackson Smith and Jigba. So many great receivers, and it's been fun to watch this young man today.
Second down play coming up for this offense. They'll try the option play here. He'll toss it to the back. And he runs out of bounds there to avoid the contact and take the loss.
Man, the defense took everything away. He tried to get to the inside, had to bounce it all the way to the outside, and then they took that away. He couldn't turn the corner. He was forced out of bounds for a loss.
Now in third and very long, looking to throw. Quarterback escapes the pocket. Goes to his right side there for the completion. He's not going to get the first down. It's fourth down now.
You know, it's third down. As a quarterback, you're sitting there back in the pocket trying to find a matchup that you like. Pretty much everything taken away. I like his thought to get it to the running back because he's a talented, gifted player, but he just could not wiggle free to pick up the first down.
So they'll send out the field goal unit to give it a shot here from very long distance. What a kick. It's good from 57.
Boy, this guy has such a strong leg. No problem. Up into the net from 50-plus.
They come away with 3 points on the drive, and now the kickoff team will boot it away. This one will be fair caught. Michigan offense comes back out on the field. They scored a touchdown on the last possession. Let's see if this defense has been able to come up with some adjustments and stop them this time. He'll try a pass here. Looks to his left and makes the completion. Receiver brought down after a short pitch and catch.
Quarterback looks downfield to make this throw. He wants to be able to get the ball to be able to pick up enough yards for a first down. But instead, he gets the ball at least underneath to the drag route and gets some positive yards.
Second down play coming up. Takes the snap and takes off on the run. They'll stop him behind the line for a loss of 1.
Well, that's the drawback to this play. Even if somehow the quarterback pitches it, he's not immune to this big hit. In this case, he kept it and absorbed it anyway.
So ball at the 30. This is a manageable third down play for the offense. Here's the snap. Quarterback drops back. Quick throw, testing the middle. He's got his man in the open field. The Wolverines will hustle to the line to run the hurry-up offense.
Well, this is why this guy's one of the top wide receivers in college football. It's third down. The defense knows you're probably going to go to him, and they still can't stop him from coming down with a big play. On 1st and 10, looking to throw. Gets rid of it on the move.
Receiver makes the catch. Really solid first down gain. He's just short of the marker, so maybe a chance here to take a downfield shot.
Boy, nice drag route here, and I thought the patience by the quarterback was the key. Puts it in front of his receiver, gives him a chance to make the catch, and picks up a little bonus. Nice yards after the catch.
Offense coming to the line. They might have a chance for a couple more plays before we reach the end of the quarter. Looking to pass here on second down. And it's caught. Tackled after a solid gain. It's enough for a first down, and that should wrap up the first quarter of play.
That's the end of the first quarter. With the score, Ohio State 10, Michigan 7.
And the Wolverines are moving quickly down the field. First down, looking to throw the ball. Quarterback delivers complete to the right side. But he's hammered by the linebacker. What a hit. Now it's second down here. Quarterback drops back from the shotgun, looking for a receiver. Little floater there, but it falls incomplete.
Brings up third down.
Third and short now for the offense for the plus 25. Already in field goal range, but can they convert, keep the drive going? They'll try to move the chains here on the ground. Good enough for first down yardage.
Chris, I just love to see this offensive line and this running game able to establish themselves. This back is already over 50 yards. We're in the first half, so really good job of establishing the run game. Opens up the play action, opens up one-on-one opportunities. Just keep winning the battle up front.
They tackle him behind the line, a loss of 4. Well, they run it right into a blitz, and that linebacker was coming downhill curve.
Man, what a time to call that blitz here by the defensive coordinator. And you're right, he shoots right through that A-gap. Really, the back had nowhere to go. By the time he got the ball in his hands, the linebacker's right in his face.
Quarterback looks to his right and finds his man. And they bring him down after a solid gain, but it's still well short of the first down marker. From the shotgun, it's a handoff. And he's tackled, but only after picking up the first down. The Wolverines come to the line to run the hurry-up. First and goal, they'll try to run it in. And they'll try to run inside, but nowhere to go. Offense facing second and goal. They flip it to him on the jet sweep. And he makes it into the end zone. Touchdown, Wolverines. That kind of execution, a long drive, that's why this team made it to the college football playoff.
That's exactly right. Being able to mix in the run with the pass, picking up first downs, and eventually coming up with the touchdown. That is a tough thing to do, and they made it look easy.
And they tack on the extra point. Now the kickoff team is out on the field. That one bounces through the end zone, so they'll start at the 25. Okay, here comes the Ohio State offense back on the field. They were fortunate to get points on the last possession because of a long-range field goal. Makes a quick grab. Oh, and he fumbles. Defense recovers the fumble. Big takeaway.
Boy, the defense showing their team speed on that play, flying around that receiver. He made the catch, but he didn't do a good job of securing the football, and the ball comes out.
As a design quarterback keeper. And he'll step out of bounds after a solid gain on that run.
These quarterbacks today in the college game are so athletic. They can beat you with their arm, obviously. But just when you think you have them figured out, they tuck the ball and go. I'd expect this defense to put in a spy and keep this quarterback from running.
They'll try the ground game here with the running back. Tackle, but forced down.
Chris, it's the consistency of this back is giving this defense fits. They've got to come up with some changes up front. This guy's already over 50 yards, and if he keeps running the way he is, not only is he having a great day, but it's going to give this quarterback a chance to hit some big plays downfield off play.
Got space, looking to score. And he gets to the end zone. Touchdown, Michigan.
Man, that's another touchdown for this guy. This defense better adjust and get eyes into that backfield, or he may go for a third or a fourth later today.
And they get set now to try the PAT. They had the extra point, and the lead now is 11, 21-10. Kickoff team is on the field to move this one away.
Michigan, 21. Ohio State, 10.
Long kickoff, no chance for a return. It'll be a touchback. And the Ohio State offense comes back onto the field. Last possession, they fumbled it away, and it set up a touchdown drive. And they bounce back from that right away. Goes backwards, losing 3 yards there. They don't block the defensive end, who shows some quickness, Kirk, getting around the edge that time.
Yeah, this guy's usually getting around the edge to put pressure on the quarterback, but he reminds everybody here that this guy's a complete package. Not only can he pressure the quarterback, but also he is very, very talented and shows you the physicality he has against the run as well. I'm a big fan of the RPO, but it is a dangerous play for the quarterback. You got to make the right decision. On this play, it just seemed like he was a little hesitant, unsure, and it cost him here with an incompletion.
Looking to set up a screen pass here. And the defense stops him short of the marker in that screen. 4th down coming up.
The offense gets some positive yards here, but they're going to be short of the first down marker to set up 4th down. Really good job by the defense of tackling and the awareness to keep him short of that first down marker.
The Buckeyes will bring their punt team onto the field.
In punt formation to kick it away.
And he doesn't field it cleanly. The ball is loose. Offense recovers the fumble, maintains possession. So the special teams mistake moves the offense up 15 yards. First down play call. How aggressive will it be? Hand off to the single back. Able to fight for a decent gain here in that running play.
Great job by the offensive line here, opening up some holes and giving the running back room to run on first down. Plays like this can open up the playbook for the play caller. Allow him to make that defense think, are they going to run? Maybe play action, maybe throw the ball downfield.
He'll ride the back again here. And he picks up the first down before they get him to the ground.
You know, offensive linemen are just a certain breed. They're always going to do their job, no matter who's back there carrying the ball. I'll tell you what, they have a little bit more confidence when the person that's carrying the ball can break off some big-time runs. That makes him block just a little bit harder, knowing what he's potentially capable of doing.
And the quarterback tucks it and takes off as a design run. Running with purpose.
Man, when your quarterback can run the football like this, it puts so much pressure on the defense. The defense coordinator spent all week preparing his unit to be able to stop this offense. But when this quarterback's able to pull it down and pick up yards like that, it's an extra headache for the defense to have to deal with.
Here comes a handoff. And he'll get the first down yards before they finally bring him down. The Wolverines hustle to the line to run the hurry up. And then first down, they go right back to him. They get him down, but that's a solid gain. Second down after that run on the previous play. And here's the handoff. There's the tackle, but first down yardage. The offense will take their first 10 out of the half and talk strategy here.
Look, I realize on any play call, when it's properly executed, it can go to the house for a touchdown. But the runs that really make a game plan work are the ones where you get just what you need. And he barely got the first down, but he got it.
He'll hand it off. And the stop made just short of the goal line. They'll put it at the 2. Timeout is called to talk strategy. Time for just 1 or 2 plays here before halftime. The offense comes back out there. Not much time left. Perhaps just time for a couple plays before the half. He'll try to pick up the yardage on the ground. Fights his way to the end zone. Touchdown, Wolverines. So they'll try to add to the lead now with the PAT. And the kick is up and good. They tack on a point to their lead. So an important touchdown just before halftime. Not much time for the opposing offense to try to answer before the break. This one is not returnable. It's out of the back of the end zone. This will likely be the last play of the half. An inside give now from the shotgun. And the run moves the ball up to the 33. And a timeout is called. Important stage late here in the second quarter. Defense loading up on defensive backs here. Want to take away the deep pass play. Quarterback looking to throw it on second down. He's moving out of the pocket now. On the run, going to heave it downfield. The catch is made for a huge pickup. They finally make the stop after a big gain, but that'll wrap up the first half of play. Miller's going to wrap up the first half here. Let's kick it now to Kevin Connors with our halftime update. Looks like they're lining up to attempt an onside kick. And the receiving team makes the recovery. The hands team does its job perfectly.
Trying an onside to start the third with the lead? It's, I guess, a bold strategy. Now we'll see if it comes back to bite them.
And the Wolverines offense is back on the field. This group has been clicking and really built momentum. And the defense make adjustments. Come up with a stop here. He breaks free. Quarterback on the move, trying to make something happen. He'll be wrapped up on the scramble there, settling for a short gain. Important second down play coming up. Out of the shotgun, he'll hand it off. And the senior able to make the stop after a short gain.
You know, in the era that we live in right now, everybody wants to spread the field around, try to create space, try to create one-on-one matchups, and the defense has countered over the years by trying to play out wide. But here's a great example. The defense has the ability to play wide, but still be solid at the line of scrimmage, not give up big run plays.
He'll avoid the tackle there with a slide. And the Wolverines will come to the line to run the hurry-up.
Boy, this is so deflating for this defense on third and short. Good coverage downfield. They take away all the short routes, but the one guy that they don't account for is the quarterback and his legs. Picks up the first down by being athletic there and great awareness.
The Wolverines pick up enough yardage to move the sticks. He'll hand it off. Picks up 2, so it's 2nd and 8.
Hey, it's a great job of this defense containing the running game. But if I'm calling plays, I'm not abandoning the running game just yet. I think it's important to have some sense of balance. So throwing and running is essential. Stick with it.
Here's the second down play. And they're moving the receiver now before the snap. Receiver looks it in. It's complete. Defense makes the stop after the completion. Now it's 3rd and short in the 24. One of those line of scrimmage battles that could help decide this game. There's the snap. He's looking to throw. The pass is off target. He got hit as he threw as the 3rd down pressure works.
How about the call here? They go with the screen on 3rd down and short. You don't see that called very often. They're not able to even complete the pass, so no chance at a conversion. So we got 4th and short.
The Wolverines will come to the line looking to convert on 4th down. Here we go on 4th down. He did not get it. A crucial play by this defense on a 4th down stop.
How about the offense being aggressive? They decide to go for it here, and I got to give all the credit to this defense. Being aware, anticipating the call, knowing exactly where they needed to make the stop, and they did it.
They start the drive with a quick throw to the right. Nowhere to run. They'll corral him for no gain.
Well, they're just fundamentally sound right where you want to be after the completion. Nowhere to go after that catch.
What's the play call here on 2nd down for this offense? Quarterback drops back. He's running out of time here. He's going to be brought down by that ferocious pass rush. Nice sack.
Just outstanding combination of quickness and strength here by this Michigan defensive lineman. Makes me think of Aiden Hutchinson, who, of course, played here recently. Going back to guys like Rashawn Gary, Lamar Woodley, Frank Clark. Great tradition of Michigan defensive linemen on full display right now.
Here's a gamble. Head coach keeping the offense on the field inside his own 30. And he's throwing for it on 4th down. Lets it fly to the wideout. He's got it, and that is enough for a 1st down. They get him down, but the gain moves the ball up to the 36.
I thought the defense did a pretty good job here on this 4th down, but how about the quarterback? Throws an absolute laser to get that one in there for the 1st down.
On 1st and 10 here, looking to throw the ball. Dump off, caught by the running back. And a big gain before he goes out of bounds. The offense keeps churning, gets a fresh set of downs. The Buckeyes looking to crank up the tempo a bit.
Just another great example, Chris, of an Ohio State quarterback and receiver combination being so dangerous. Think about it, over the last 8 or 10 years, I think Ohio State has been as consistent as anybody when it comes to the passing game and the efficiency that comes with it.
Incomplete, so it's 2nd down and 10. There's the snap. They'll set up to throw. Looking to scramble. He gets loose, able to pick up a solid gain there on the scramble. 3rd down. The offense desperately needs a conversion here, trailing in the 3rd quarter. Looking to pick up the 1st down through the air. Quarterback moving out of the pocket, trying to create. But they don't connect. It's incomplete, and it brings up 4th down.
Oof, the risk of throwing on 3rd and short. Lots of second guessing going over on that sideline about that play call. You got to wonder if they're going to go for it anyway on 4th down, but what will be the play call?
Still down by double digits in the 3rd quarter. They're going to go for it on 4th down. Bringing pressure. He's brought down. A sack will end this drive. Huge play here by the defense.
Now the quarterback's got to get the ball out of his hands. He had a lot of time back there in the pocket, looking over the field, desperately trying to find an open receiver. Nobody's open, but he still has got to take off and try to make a play. Instead, he's sacked, and it's a turnover on downs.
Good pass. Here comes a jet sweep. Brought down for a loss after the completion. Not what they were looking for.
Well, that's one of those plays that works better against certain defensive looks, but not every defense is the same. They were all over that one. Let's see if they continue to attack to the outside on the perimeter to set something up downfield.
Quarterback looking to pass here on second down. Fires it on the move. Finds a man open on the right side downfield. They make the tackle, but the game moves the ball to the 28.
That's a nice completion here by this Michigan offense. And when Michigan is really clicking, you think about over the years, they've been efficient within that passing game, being able to throw the football to complement a very physical running game. Nice play.
Gives it to the back. Out of bounds after another big gain on the ground. This running game has been unstoppable today. Well, he finally goes out of bounds down inside the 10, but that play sets up this offense in good scoring position.
It sure does. What a great play of creating momentum for this offense. Now you want to see if they give this back a chance to put it into the end zone now that they're first and goal.
Corner's back up now, playing a couple yards off the ball. First and goal, handoff. And he's brought down short of the line to gain what should be the last play of this third quarter.
That's the end of the third quarter of play. With the score, Michigan 28, Ohio State 10.
They've had the break to talk about it. Now we begin the quarter with the offense set up second and goal. Keep it on the ground. There's the handoff. Touchdown, Michigan. And the beatdown continues. And now here comes the point after attempt. PAT is good. They're pulling away 35-10. The kickoff team on the field now as they get set to send this one away. And that one will bounce out of the back of the end zone. So a touchback will start at the 25. Here comes the Buckeye offense onto the field. The last time they went forward on fourth down, didn't get it, and it ended up costing them 6 points. And they bounce back here. It's a screen pass complete to the running back. They bring him down, but a solid game there on first down. Looks to be just inches short of the marker. Buckeyes looking to use the up-tempo offense here.
This is what you love to see, right? Quarterback does a nice job of looking and finding his open receiver, and he waits to the last possible second. In fact, Chris, he gets hit as he gets that ball out of his hand. So good job of showing some strength and a good job of throwing with accuracy as he's taking that hit.
And that run, good for first down yardage. The drive moves on. The quarterback making some changes at the line. And the quarterback keeps it on the option. And they'll tackle him for a loss of 5 yards.
Chris, I'll be really honest with you. I don't know why they continue to try to run the football. I'm all about balance. I'm all about trying to make sure defense has to defend the run and the throw. But at this point in the game, they haven't been able to run the ball. They're going to have to go through the air if they're going to come back and take the lead in this game at some point.
And he heads out of bounds after a nice pickup on the run.
I love that this guy's not willing to just give up on plays. You know, he's got enough athletic ability to give you some positive yards in the run game, and he's able to do that right here.
Fires it to the wideout. Oh, the pass is picked off. Not much on the return, but the takeaway sets up the offense at the 41.
Well, this defense has been great the entire football game here. They knew they had a lot of pressure on them in the playoff. They stepped up and played well all game long, and now they get a critical interception here late in this game.
And the Michigan offense back out on the field, trying to build on a beautiful, balanced touchdown drive last time they had it. Caught near the sideline, but just a short gain. And he's out of bounds after gaining decent yardage. Pass complete. It's second down now. Offense looking to throw the ball. On the run here, lets it go. Receiver makes the grab. Big gain across midfield all the way down to the 34-yard line.
You know, they've got a lead here late in the game, and the play calling, I think, shows you how much confidence they have in this quarterback. He's had a pretty clean game today, and this decision to still throw the ball with the lead shows you.
And the sack is made. That's a nice play there by the sophomore.
A lot of times we get caught up, Chris, in the one-on-one battles with the receivers and the DBs. Here's a great example of up front, the offensive line and the defensive line. Who wins that battle? This time the defense wins it, and they get the sack.
They'll work the clock here with the running game.
Chris, you know, the spread era over the years has always grown offensively, but what I've been always impressed with defenses that really build their defense to play in space still have an ability to be sound at the line of scrimmage and defend a running game. It's exactly what we saw right there.
They come to the line, a long way to go for the first down, but needing this crucial conversion right now. That's the wide receiver coming in motion now. On third down, he drops to throw. He bought some time, now lets it go. The gain is not enough for first down, so it brings up a 4th and short.
Well, here the defense decided to sit back and play zone, and that front didn't do a good job of pressuring the quarterback. He had the time to make the throw, and he put it on target.
So they'll settle for a field goal attempt here. He missed it. Field goal, no good. That's just a minor blip in what's been a thoroughly dominating performance.
That's a missed opportunity for some points here. The way they were moving the football, I thought maybe a touchdown at the very least, 3 points, but instead, he shanks it.
And it's incomplete. The defender arrived the same time as the football, and now it's second down. Here's the snap, looking to throw. Oh, and he dropped it. You do not see that very often from this guy. He's going to bring up third down. Not going to be easy here. Backed up a long way to go for a first down. And he'll drop back here on third down. Trying to create outside the pocket now. The pass ball is incomplete. He tried to extend the play, but nobody open.
Well, that's not what you want to see as an offense when you're trailing late in a football game. An incompletion on third down and long. Hey, it's a bit of a risk, but with that clock looking the way it looks right now, I think you got to go for it here and hope to convert on 4th and long.
That's a big game before he goes out of bounds. It'll move the sticks more than enough for a first down. The Buckeyes lining up here on 1st and 10. Quarterback drops back. We're going to test the secondary. Quick throw over the middle. And he's got his man open downfield. And he's brought down, but not before he gets first down yardage. The Buckeyes will come to the line to crank up the tempo. Moving the receiver around pre-snap. A pop pass on the jet sweep. And the sophomore able to bring him down quickly.
Boy, I'm a big fan of that jet sweep motion like that. It really forces the defense to stretch them out horizontally and can create some vertical seams for this offense. They got some positive yards. They didn't quite get the first down, but I'll tell you what they've done. Planted a seed on this defense that they better defend this style of play moving forward.
The pocket breaking down. On the run, he'll let it go. He's got it for a big gain. He'll be taken down, but he does have first down yardage. The clock is still running. They got to get set quickly. Here comes a throw from the red zone. It's an out route. The catch made.
Chris, now that we're in the final couple minutes of this game, it's a good time to just kind of step back and appreciate the job this defense has done throughout the entire game. They've applied pressure. They've been physical at the line of scrimmage. Good job in space. And a big part of the reason that they have such a big lead today.
Quarterback escapes the pocket and takes off. It's incomplete. He took a hit as he threw the football, and it brings up a third down.
How about the defense today? They have played so well. I think the defensive coordinator put together a great plan. His kids clearly understood their skill.
And he's going to fling it deep, going for it all here. And it's caught. Touchdown, Ohio State.
Well, that's a thing of beauty right there. Good job all around. Offensive line gave the quarterback enough time. Quarterback puts it right on the money. And with this receiver running a route like this, makes it pretty simple. All you have to do is get his head turned around, catch that football. He's already in the end zone for the touchdown.
Running out of time in the pocket. It's intercepted. Tried to fire it into a tight window.
The attempt at the two-point conversion is no good. That keeps the
I believe they're going to line up here and go for the onside kick.
Ohio State, 16.
And the receiving team has recovered. Looks like the hands team did its job. And the head coach will decide to accept the penalty and take the yardage. First down here for this offense. And it looks like the quarterback's going to run it. Got the first down, now looking for more. Oh, and he's in the clear now. It's a foot race. They bring him down, but a big chunk of yardage on the play. And the Wolverines are in the red zone. Takes the snap and takes off on the run. Tackled at the 1-yard line. Couldn't quite get in, but an excellent run. The Wolverines trying to punch it in. It's first and goal.
Here we go. Go.
They'll try to run it in on first and goal. Touchdown, Wolverines. Stretching the lead. This one is getting ugly.
I think we're starting to kind of see a theme here, Chris, today. That's his second touchdown. The offensive line doing their job, and he's doing an outstanding job of just reading the defense, finding the hole, and being able to pick up big yards and touchdowns.
They're able to get him down.
Well, with a quarterback like this, you can understand this call, trying to call his own number. He's got the athletic ability to get it done, but the defense does a nice job of not allowing him to get to that goal line.
And the hands team able to make the crucial recovery.
Hey, it's the fourth quarter here. They're trying to get that football back. I don't blame them. Unfortunately, they couldn't come up with it.
Here comes the powerful Buckeye offense back onto the field. This has been a rough game for these guys. Not much left to do but play for... He fires this throw and is intercepted. Big takeaway. Now looking for a big return. The 30. Inside the 10. Return to pick 6. Touchdown, Michigan.
Great job here by the defense coming up with yet another play. Boy, they are just pouring it on today, dominating in every phase.
It's a fake. They got the tight end open. And he's not going to get there. Stopped short. Missed opportunity to build this lead. Formation would indicate they're going to try the onside kick here. And looks like the hands team are able to recover the football.
Well, it's a great job by the hands team. Expecting the onside kick in position. They were dialed in and pounced on the football.
With the game out of reach here, the offense will just take a knee, admit defeat, and think about how to improve for the next game. Offense getting set. Second down play here. Looks like the quarterback will just take a knee here. Well, that's a great performance in the pressure moment, but now the job gets even more exciting, even bigger as they go on to the national championship game and play for that trophy.
And this is a new era. I mean, think about the weeks, the amount of games that these guys have been able to play, and to be able to accomplish this, to get to the national championship, that says everything about the endurance of this football team, both mentally and physically, and they get one more hurdle to see if they can become the national champs.
And that is going to wrap it up. We enjoyed this one here. For Kirk Herbstreit, I'm Chris Fowler, and this has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.